Surrender is not a giving up. Surrender is a giving over. When we transform our fear into faith, then even when there are obstacles and things are not working out the way we anticipated, it's because there's something better. I want to say this to anyone who's manifesting something right now that's not coming, it's not coming. You have to trust me when I tell you that when you surrender to spiritual guidance, when it shows up far greater than you could have ever imagined. So let's set the intention for this card from the Super Attractor deck to give us whatever it is that we need today, to give us a theme, a source of inspiration for this show, and to move us in the right direction. And here we go. It's one of my favorite quotes I've ever said. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. And so let me just talk that through for you. When you think you've surrendered, surrender more. That's the message of this. That's the message of today. I guess that will absolutely, most likely come through multiple times on this Dear Gabby Live, because whenever I pick a card, there's always a theme that definitely has some kind of resonance with whatever comes up. And I also know that surrender is a topic that we've been coming back to over and over again. And so many of you have this hit often that surrender is a bad thing, right? That surrender is a giving up. And what I've said over and over on this show is that surrender is not a giving up, surrender is a giving over. So when we fully get that, when we embrace that, when we accept and acknowledge and understand that surrender isn't about just letting go of all of our options and just giving up our dreams, but instead it's giving over our agenda, our timeline, our control to the presence of the universe, to the presence of inspiration within us, to the presence of a spiritual connection of our own understanding. When we give it over, when we say, take this from me, let me tell you, living your life in that way, my friends, is so released. It's so relaxed. It's so at ease. And it is actually what has allowed me to be late for today's show, because I'm doing my makeup and really, loving my KKW beauty or whatever the fuck I was doing in the bathroom before I came over here, because I'm just in the flow. I'm in the surrender. I'm not in the timeline, the agenda, the this, the that. When we surrender, we can let things unfold. We can live with more ease. We can feel a sense of relaxation. I think maybe I'm just using surrender as an excuse for being late today, but whatever. but ultimately, I really want to just drive home the message that it's a topic that a lot of spiritual teachers will come back to, but it's my mission to really help you recognize that the more you give over and the more you allow and the more you trust in the presence of that spiritual connection that's a faith of your own, the more habitual that becomes. And spirituality and even personal growth practices are a habit. We have to undo old habits to reclaim new habits. But it's in the practice of the new habits that the old habits become undone. So that's what we're going to go through today. Someone's saying, I choose not to drink alcohol right now. I mean, that's a big one to surrender. So that would be a great example for whoever that person is, to really give yourself the chance to give it over, and rather than hold on to the need to control it, because it's in the controlling that we actually create more chaos. Okay. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. There we go. Surrender is our word today. Here we go. Letting go of control is a topic that is not only the theme for today's show on Dear Gabby, because our card was, if you think you've surrendered, surrender more, but it's probably one of the most difficult achievements we can accomplish. And I want to actually acknowledge that letting go of control is an achievement, Because when we are in a chronic state of trying to control our life circumstances, it's really a chronic state of trying to feel safe. Right. We use these mechanisms of trying to keep our world in this package, in this path, in this plan, and we control ourselves, our lives, other people, our circumstances, our timelines, our manifestations, our health, whatever it may be, as a false sense of safety. Because when we actually fully surrender, like we've been talking about today, and we start to trust in a plan beyond our own, and we start to allow and be in the acceptance of what is, and we start to lead from a place and live from a place of inspiration rather than the manipulation, that's when we realize that that is the greatest source of safety. But in this worldly experience that we're having, we have it all backwards. Our fear of being unsafe, which is a common theme throughout the lives of most individuals, given the fact that even the slightest thing in our childhood could establish a belief system of not being safe, right? Even with you were mentioning some people saying that your last name the wrong way made you feel an insecurity, a sense of I'm not good enough and therefore I'm not safe. And so we find all these different coping mechanisms, and controlling our life is one of the biggest ones. And truly most coping mechanisms are really just a form of control. Even addiction is another form of trying to be in control of our feelings, our emotions. Even even if it's like a positive habit, it can still be another way that we're trying to control. And so the answer truly as how do we release that control is in my world, releasing the need to control has to be replaced with something else, because we can't just take, if you think that form of controlling is how you stay safe, you can't just sort of take off the life jacket. So you need to put something in its place slowly and comfortably, because you don't want to just, blast yourself with a new behavior. And so what does it look like to slowly and comfortably begin to release the grip? Well, some of it could be something as subtle as taking one area of your life and starting to just adjust your behavioral patterns a little bit, right? So if you've been super controlling with what you eat, start to just subtly make some adjustments. Or if you've been trying to control a relationship, start to make subtle adjustments. And so those subtle shifts in your behavior start to add up and can actually become a new pattern and a new behavioral experience. But then the other bit here is, if you're going to take away the safety net, what are you going to put in its place to feel safe enough? And that sense of safety has to come from a deep inner experience. And the only way that we can really let go of our coping mechanisms is to start to garner that sense of safety within ourselves. That when we transform our fear into faith, then even when there are obstacles and things are not working out the way we anticipated, it's because there's something better. I've been hoping and manifesting something lately that I didn't realize I was so attached to. Out of nowhere, I didn't get the outcome I wanted, and I just really felt defeated. I started going back to old thought patterns, old behaviors. And I was in my kitchen and I said to my husband, I'm just feeling it again. And I'm so disappointed and I didn't get what I want. And what am I going to do? And he said, well, this beautiful quote from this great author, when you think you've surrendered, surrender more. I started crying. He just repeated back to me my own words, but it moved me so deeply. You have to know what surrender means to you in the first place in order to surrender more. So the pathway to surrender, I've written the book on it. The Universe Has Your Back. Go listen to the book. Go open your heart to that book again. There's a whole chapter, The Spiritual Steps to Surrender, or watch my Super Soul Sessions talk with Oprah Super Soul Sessions, The Spiritual Steps to Surrender. Follow those steps. Live by those steps. Feel the feeling of what it means to be in surrender. And then surrender more. And so how does that come in? Okay. We can start to begin to establish a new baseline for safety through, first and foremost, really understanding our nervous system. And so when you are in a place of the sympathetic fight flight response, or you're getting all that rush of cortisol and you're feeling that anxiety, become the witness of it. Start to notice when you're in that place, because in that place, that's when you want to control, right? When you're relaxed and you've got your, chill moment, you're not trying to control things. You're just letting things be, right? When you're like, on a beach or whatever it is, whatever your moment of relaxation is. So start to notice when you're in that place of that sympathetic arousal. And in those moments, do something in place of the need to control. So what could you do instead? You could breathe in for 3 strokes and out for 8, right? So if it's in 2, 3, out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that quick in-breath and that longer out-breath actually starts to regulate your nervous system. And so something as simple as that, noticing that you're in that sympathetic state, doing something like a breath pattern where you breathe in with a quicker in-breath and a long exhale can just start to regulate your nervous system. And that simple act of breath actually starts to calm you down, and it sends a message to your brain, I'm safe in this moment. And then that energetic sense of safety makes it so that you don't have to do that thing that makes you try to control, or doesn't make you think that thought that's trying to be in control. It's allowing you to say to yourself proactively, I'm safe in this moment now. I want to say this to anyone who's manifesting something right now that's not coming. It's not coming. You have to trust me when I tell you that when you surrender to spiritual guidance, when it shows up far greater than you could have ever imagined. I already know that if you were to say to me right now, Gabby, if you had conceived your child in March or now, would you choose now and all that you've been through? And I would say, definitely, I would take this year that I've been through and trust the journey, even with all of the ups and downs. So it's bringing that perspective to this process is what will allow you to move through it with faith and certainty, rather than fear and frustration. I've heard you say the word trying 3 times in one sentence, and you answered your own question. I'm forcing, I'm controlling, and you used the word trying. We have a power within us to be a magnetic force for what it is that we need, what it is that we desire, what it is that we need to grow, whatever obstacle it is that we need to guide us in the right direction. But when we push, when we try, when we control, when we're constantly seeking the validation, we get in the way of the vibrational frequency of support that is around us. The truth is that we often are trying to get something that isn't necessarily what's right for us in that moment. So all that trying and all that pushing may be actually for something we don't even truly want, or something that isn't right for us in this exact divine moment, or something that we maybe want or need would be later in a year from now, look back and say, holy crap, how great it is that happened now, not then. So we're often doing 2 things wrong: pushing and controlling, which creates a resonance that is not, an energy that is not resonant with the universe, and then trying to make something what we think it should be rather than what is of the highest good for us and for the world. The quickest pathway to surrendering is to truly believe, to truly ground yourself in the faith that you are indeed being guided, that you are indeed being led, that what you desire is on the way in a form better than you can imagine. You can have big dreams when we're on a spiritual path. We want that person or that book or that blog or that course to give us direction. We want to be told what to do. We want to get our hands out of it. We want to get our hands off the wheel. And sometimes the greatest way to release and surrender is to allow a teacher that you are trusting and moved by to guide you and lead you. You've already opened up your consciousness to receive information from my books. You feel moved by them. So whether it's me or any other teacher, I don't care. That doesn't matter. But when you have these moments of feeling, wow, I need to learn something from that book or that work or that teacher, whether they're alive or deceased, whoever it may be. There's a great sense of relief knowing that someone has lived that path and can carry the message on with you so that you can actually just take their guidance, their direction, their experience of those methods, whatever they may be, and allow them to become your own. The next thing is to just really give yourself permission to stop trying to figure it out and to allow the methods that you've been resonating with to be your guide. Once again, when you find a teacher, a path, a message that moves you, it's because it's reflecting a part of your own inner knowing. It's not just because, oh, I love the words or I love the ideas or she's proven she can do this. It's because you know you can. It's because it's a reflection of your own inner belief system, your own inner strength and wisdom and source. Just follow the path. If you have a book that's worked for you in the past, pick that book up again. If you have a meditation that's worked for you in the past, start that meditation again. Use what you've got. We often think I got to go do, get, find more ways. Use what's in front of you. Follow what inspires you. Trust that the path is unfolding naturally. Often one of the greatest ways to surrender is just to follow a path, to follow a book, to follow a guide, to let your therapist be your guidepost each week, whatever it may be. Because with surrendering to a plan beyond your own, sometimes is a plan of the 12 steps or a plan of a book or a plan of a therapist or a plan of a friend. So just let go and allow to the practices that have been moving you already. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. So I can't decide for you what your faith is. You must decide that for yourself. And In the Universe Has Your Back, there's a practice called How to Create a Faith Statement. So if you have that book, you can use that practice, but I can kind of riff on it today. So what I ask of you when you're creating a faith statement is just to free write, just to get your pen to paper and just write. What does it mean to have faith in a higher power? What does it mean? And even if you don't like that language, what does it mean to have faith in my own inspiration or the source of inspiration within me? Or what does it mean to have faith in the universe? I don't care about the language or the words that you use. I just want you to start to riff onto the page, what is your faith statement? And you write for like 10 minutes, okay? And then I want you to underline what really resonates with you, the statements, the words that resonate with you. And a faith statement can sound like this. This is mine. There is an ever-present energy of love within me and around me, supporting me and guiding me. And I know that. And that doesn't need to be your faith statement, though you can take it if you want. But you develop your own. And in developing that statement of faith of what it means to you to be guided, what it means to you to be asked to show up for these experiences from your past at this time, what it means for you to surrender them, to allow yourself to be led to the right therapist or to the right book or to the right healing modality. That's where your faith needs to come through, particularly when we're in the most uncomfortable moments. Because when we show up for those moments from a place of faith that we are being guided, then we don't have to be afraid of what's coming up, but instead we can welcome it and say, okay, this is my moment for guidance, and this is my moment for growth, and this is my moment for healing. The growth and the healing and the undoing of traumatic wounds is a slow process. It's not something that you want to just take the Band-Aid off too quickly. And we have a lot of different coping mechanisms for managing those experiences, managing the fear, managing the stories, managing the disturbances. So what you can begin to do is start to just notice the managers. Notice all the ways that you are trying to keep yourself safe, or the coping mechanisms and the ways that you're trying to numb out or not feel that feeling or not notice that memory, or just notice, just be in the inquiry of, how am I protecting myself? Because we can't actually get to the place of truly healing that inner child until we let those managers, as in IFS therapy, they call it the protectors, right? We have to let those parts of ourselves that are so in that protection mode, they have to be recognized and acknowledged in order for us to start to touch, to get closer to that inner child. So that work happens. And I want to, a lot of times on this show, my response will be therapy, because this is a show where I can always offer you guys great guidance and support. But I also don't have first of all, the skill set to be the therapist, but I also am here to be the catalyst. I'm here to be the gentle reminder that there is so much great work out there that can greatly support you in your trauma recovery. So you're on this show for me to tell you a few things you can do. Okay. I highly recommend somatic experiencing therapy, which is all about really addressing the trauma that's in your body. And when you move the memories and the energetic disturbances through the body, that's when a lot can be resolved. I also have referenced now internal family systems, and that's the work of Dick Schwartz. And I will be sharing an interview that I did with Dick in the coming months. I highly recommend his work, and you could start with his books if you wanted to. And Peter Levine started somatic experiencing therapy. And then the other thing I would highly recommend is EMDR. And that's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And all of these therapists are now online at different price ranges and different resource levels. And so there's a lot of support. And if you go to the IFS Institute and the somaticexperiencing.org and just go back to this video and Google these modalities that I've suggested. These are the transformational trauma therapies that will help you do the deeper work. The faith that I was referencing at the top of this conversation is what opened you up to welcome support today. And then that opened you to guide you to this conversation. There's a practice in Super Attractor, and it's called the spiritually aligned action method. So it does require action, but that action always is backed with spiritual alignment. Because any action that we take that's forceful or pushing or trying to make something happen will, as a result, be backed with negative energy or frantic energy or needy energy, and it won't be attractive, right? It won't attract. So the answer is yes, take action, but only when you are in spiritual alignment. So that doesn't mean you wait 5 years to get into spiritual alignment. It means that you can start to practice it now. So the way that we know that we're in spiritual alignment means we are feeling positive and hopeful, that we are in a spirit and service mindset of, how can I serve? We are in a faithful state, feeling, okay, whatever is of the highest good is coming to me. And we're patient. So that's the key ingredients for taking spiritually aligned action, is to make sure that those actions are aligned with service, love, faith, and patience. And when we take any action, and send out a resume, make a phone call, go to an interview, from that place, we can be sure that it's going to have a greater impact than if we were frantically just applying to everything. What happens when you frantically apply to everything is you apply for things that you're not right for. You apply for things that you would never want to do, that would be really bad for you emotionally, spiritually. You get in the way of the manifestation. So when you're in spiritual alignment, you have the consciousness to say, whoa. I'm going to apply to 3 jobs rather than 5 today because those 3 jobs feel more aligned for me. You got that? But in no way does this mean you're not taking action. You are absolutely taking an action, but it's an action that's coming from a place of inspiration rather than a place of control. The spiritually aligned action method is broken down completely in Super Attractor, but that's a really good intro to what it is. So let's pick one more card to close this show, because this has been, so there was a sort of a theme for these Dear Gabbies, and today was definitely about really stepping into our power. All right, here we go, my friends. What a gorgeous show, as always. Let's pick a card. Obstacles or detours in the right direction. One of my favorite lines that I've ever written: obstacles or detours in the right direction. When we believe and strengthen the belief system of faith that when we are experiencing a difficult moment in our life, it's actually guiding us in the right direction. That is when we truly start living. That's when we become free. That's when we become a presence of faith in the world, because we live with the positive expectation that even when things are rough, we are being guided. And we allow ourselves to transform our fear into faith. We allow ourselves to reprogram our belief systems, because how can we be afraid of the obstacles when we accept that they are detours in the right direction? So whatever obstacle you are faced with in this moment in time, and whatever challenge is up for you, I want you to give yourself a moment of reprieve and just silently say to yourself, obstacles are detours in the right direction. And grounding yourself in that belief system will open you up to a sense of relief and peace and ease, so that you can allow that detour and that new direction to be revealed to you. I love you guys. It's so good to be with you as always. I'm going to save this in my feed. If you loved it, share it with your peeps and invite your friends to join us next week. Stay tuned for a lot more coming with this Dear Gabby show. It would be nothing without you. I absolutely adore you all, and I'm so, so proud to be part of your world during this difficult time and to be part of your community. Thank you for being here on Dear Gabby.